Hi, Mavs. Welcome. I am so honored to be with you all today. Today, I am thrilled to be able to talk to you about the Erie Public Library and about all of the wonderful, amazing things that you can do when you visit a library. So, as we know, this is the very last week before summer. But as Mavericks, what we also know is that Mavericks are always reading and we are always learning. Why? Because that's who we are. So today, hopefully, number one, you had a chance to talk to the Erie Public Library librarian, and she told you all about this summer's reading adventures. Number two, hopefully, you have already built your very own story box and created many stories that you can tell your family, your stuffies, and even your pets. And number three, today, you are now with me, and we are going to be reading this wonderful read aloud that I absolutely love. It's called Westlandia, and I'm going to teach you how to use your very own summer reading log because, team, as we know, we all received our very own summer pack. Now, in our summer pack, we have very highly recommended activities that you participate in every day in the summer. Now, like I said, we know as Mavericks, we are always reading, we are always learning, and there are so many ways that you can do it. And what we also know as teachers is that we want to make sure that you continue to learn and keep your brain strong and exercised all summer. So we have just a few minutes of every day, some fun activities that we really think that you will enjoy. So we have Fundation, which of course we already know, we're very familiar with. We also have Raz Kids, because we have a great online reading library with Raz Kids that you can access anytime. So if you're going on a road trip, if you're having a break from the sun in the summer, go ahead and pop on Raz Kids on Tuesdays. On Wednesday, you can have an iReady lesson. It just keeps your brain strong and thinking so that you're prepared for your next grade level next year. Not last, Thursdays, we have Dreambox. And Dreambox is a super fun adaptive math program that you can do every single day or on Thursdays. And it just has lots of fun games and it keeps your brain really strong and thinking about math and numbers through all summer. And lastly, we have Epic. And Epic is like an online library. But here's my take, kids. There's no replacement for the library. It's one of the most amazing, it's one of my favorite places to go actually, because it's full of so many books that you can just choose. I know that number four, you would love to go to the public library. I have 3 children, and guess what? Each one of my children has their very own library card. They actually call it their library credit card. And I just go along with it because they really are proud of being able to check out their own books, take good care of their own books, and then return their books when they're done and ready to choose new ones. Usually when we go, each kiddo picks up like 20 books. Not even joking, but they take really good care, and we have a very special place in our home for all of those library books. So that is that last part that you get to sign up for your very own library card, and you can drop it off at the library and they will give you this fancy library card, High Plains Library District. And they are super nice and they have amazing programs all summer long. So let's go ahead and get started. And today, readers, I am going to read this book to you called Westlandia. And Westlandia is super fun. All right, so this Westlandia. Of course he's miserable, moaned Wesley's mother. He sticks out like a nose, snapped his father. Listening through the heating vent, Wesley knew they were right. He was an outcast from the civilization around him. He alone in his town disliked pizza and soda, alarming his mother and the school nurse. He found professional football silly. He refused to shave half his head, the hairstyle worn by all of the other boys, despite his father's bribe of $5. Passing his neighborhood, two styles of housing, garage on the left and garage on the right, Wesley alone dreamed of more exciting forms of shelter. He had no friends, but plenty of tormentors. Fleeing them was the only sport that he was good at. Each afternoon, his mother asked him what he'd learned in school that day. "Oh, that seeds are carried great distances by the wind," he answered on Wednesday. "That each civilization has its staple food crop," he answered on Thursday. "That school's over and I should find a good summer project," he answered on Friday. As always, his father mumbled, "I'm sure you'll use that knowledge often." Suddenly, Wesley's thoughts shot sparks. His eyes blazed. His father was right. He could actually use what he'd learned that week for a summer project that would top all the others. He would grow his own staple food crop and that means discover, his own civilization. The next morning, he turned over a plot of ground in his yard. That night, a wind blew in from the west. It raced through the trees and set his curtains snapping. Wesley lay awake, listening. His land was being planted. 5 days later, the first seedlings appeared. "You'll have Almighty Bethlehem on your hands if you don't get those weeds out," warned his neighbor. "Actually, that's my crop," replied Wesley. "In this type of garden, there are no weeds." Following ancient tradition, Wesley's fellow gardeners grew tomatoes, beans, Brussels sprouts, and nothing else. Wesley found it thrilling to open his land to chance, to invite the new and unknown. The plants shot up past his knees, then his waist. They seemed to be all of the same sort, but they couldn't find them in any plant book. "Are those tomatoes or Brussels sprouts?" asked Wesley's neighbor. "None of the above," replied Wesley. Fruit appeared, yellow at first and then blushing to magenta. Wesley picked one and sliced through the rind to the juicy purple center. He took a bite and found the taste an entrancing blend of peach, strawberry, pumpkin pie, and flavors he had no name for. Ignoring the shelf of cereals in the kitchen, Wesley took to breakfasting on the fruit. He dried half a rind to serve as a cup, built his own squeezing device, and drank the fruit's juice throughout the day. Pulling up a plant, he found large tubers on the roots. These he boiled, fried, or roasted on the family barbecue, seasoning them with a pinch of the plant's highly aromatic leaves. It was hot work tending to his crop. To keep off the sun, Wesley wove himself a hat from the strips of the plant's woody bark. His success with the hat inspired him to devise a spinning wheel and loom on which he wove a loose spinning rope from the stalk's soft inner fibers. Unlike jeans, which he found scratchy and heavy, the robe was comfortable, reflected the sun, and offered a myriad opportunities for pockets. Myriad is a juicy word for many, variety, large variety. His schoolmates were scornful, then curious. Grudgingly, Wesley allowed them 10 minutes apiece at his mortar, crushing the plant seeds to collect the oil. This oil had a tangy scent and served him both as suntan lotion and mosquito repellent. He rubbed it on his face each morning and sold small amounts to his former tormentors at the price of $10 per bottle. I'm noticing a change in Wesley. seems to be building confidence and perhaps making some friends. What's happened to your watch? Asked his mother one day. Wesley admitted that he no longer wore it. He told time by this stalk that he used as a sundial and had divided the day into 8 segments, the number of petals on the plant's flowers. He adopted a new counting system as well, based likewise upon the number 8. His domain, home to many such innovations, he named Westlandia. Probably Wes. His name's Wesley. Land, yeah. So he named his new civilization after himself. Uninterested in traditional sports, Wesley made up his own. These were designed for a single player and used many different parts of the plant. His spectators looked on with envy. Realizing that more players would offer him more scope, Wesley invented other games that would include his schoolmates. Games rich with strategy and complex scoring systems. He tried to be patient with the other players' blunders, which means mistakes. August was unusually hot. Wesley built himself a platform and took to sleeping in the middle of Westlandia. He passed the evenings playing a flute he'd fashioned from a stalk or gazing up at the sky, renaming the constellations. And there he is in his hammock, in his own little civilization, playing his own music, looking very content and happy. His parents noted Wesley's improved morale. "Hey, it's the first time in years that he is so happy," said his mother. Wesley gave them a tour of Westlandia. "What do you call this plant?" asked his father. Not knowing its name, Wesley had begun calling it Swist, from the sound of its leaves rustling in the breeze. In like manner, he'd named his new fabrics, games, and foods until he'd created an entire language. Mixing the plant's oil with soot, Wesley made a passable ink. As a finale to his summer project, he used the ink and his own 80-letter alphabet to record the history of his civilization's founding. In September, Wesley returned to school. He had no shortage of friends. All right, readers. So I am so excited that we had this time together. Now, here's our job. We know that we have this amazing summer pack, and we also know that we are going to be doing lots of reading today or this summer. So we are going to now open up our reading pack, and we're going to pretend that today is June 1st. It's not. That's going to be next week, but we're going to just pretend. Now, each day you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? You also have prompts. Now, sometimes you might be in the mood for fiction. Sometimes you might be in the mood for nonfiction. So we have given you 2 options so that you have voice and choice all summer long. Now, I am going to go with fiction because we know that Westlandia is a fictional story. And I know this because we know that some magic thing from outer space isn't going to come and help me to create a whole new plant, right? But there are some parts in it that could be realistic, like if you want to start a summer project, okay? So the very first thing I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to write the title. My title of my book is Westlandia. So when my teacher looks next year, or when I want to go back and reflect on the types of books that I am choosing this summer, I can see, whoa, I'm reading a lot of fiction books. Maybe I'll try some nonfiction books. Okay, so this just helps you to see Westlandia. Okay, And if you want to underline it, you can, but you do not have to. All right, so I'm going to respond to the prompt for that day. Every day is different, right? And so you get to choose. If it's a nonfiction, then you would choose to respond to this prompt. So today, the first one is, what is the problem in this story? What was the problem? Well, the problem is that Wesley has no friends. And he was a social outcast. Okay? That was his problems. He has no friends and he was a social outcast. Okay, he also, if you want to say, like, he also had a problem, like, he wanted to create his own civilization. Okay? So this question doesn't ask a solution. So I just need to be talking about what is the problem that Wesley faced. And you just need to think about, what did you read? If you read a chapter book, then you can talk about the problem in that chapter, or you can talk about the problem in the chapter leading up to the chapter that you just finished. So really make it your own. This is just your kind of task to help keep you an accountable reader for this year. All right, Mavs, I am so excited to see you, and I am so excited for you to please visit the library and have an awesome time getting lots of books and reading and having lots of adventures all summer long. Also, I've included a fun additional read aloud here called The Library Lion. If you are looking for another fun read aloud that introduces you to the library. All right, Mavericks, have an awesome Monday and happy reading.